Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back your lovely faces to a brand new video here on the channel. Over the last couple of years or so, we have seen some very unhinged behavior. I think is probably one of the best words to describe this person. And, you know, she's done a lot of weird things. And obviously during the Johnny Depp and AH trial, she was passing out flyers and she was also sticking flyers to some of the jurors' cars. Obviously that could be classed as witness tampering. And we are in fact, yes, talking about Christina Taft. In the background, for the last couple of weeks, I have been speaking back and forth with Paul Barresi. And Paul Barresi is currently being sued by Christina Taft. Adam Wallman is also being sued by her. And Paul was kind enough to send this along to me. So what we have here is the motion to dismiss. And this is coming from Paul's team. And it's just absolutely crazy to see what Christina Taft is. It's just like, what the hell this person's doing, like, you know? And obviously we have seen so many things that this person has done. But obviously we got to all interested parties and their council of record take notice. December 16th, 2024 in courtroom 9C in United States Courthouse in LA. Paul Barresi will and hereby do move the court for an order under Federal Rule of Civil Procedure to dismiss this complaint. And with this as well, it's actually Paul was nice enough to, he's actually got some things highlighted for us, which we are going to take a look at, but it's just absolutely just insane. It really is. I've blown it up for you lovely folks so we can see it now. There is 19 pages, but we're not going to go through them all. But this is what we got. Memorandum and points under authorities. Introduction. Plaintiff Christina Taft has been harassing and defaming defendant Paul Barresi for years. This meritless and frivolous lawsuit is only the latest example of Taft's weaponization of the legal system in furtherance of her campaign against Barresi. Previously, Taft filed a meritless application for a restraining order against Barresi, which was swiftly denied by the court. She reported false and manufactured complaints against Barresi to the Department of Consumer Affairs in LA. She has tried to mobilize law enforcement agencies against Barresi under false pretenses. She publicizes her false allegations against him as well online in a concerted effort to destroy his reputation and sully his name. So first of all, with that part there, we know for a fact what Christina Taft is doing there. We saw her do it with the help of Eve Barlow and a number of other people during the Johnny Depp trial. We saw it all. She was putting things on the cars of some of the jurors. She was trying to get in touch with them. And it's like, you could literally get this case thrown out for witness tampering. And you always said, are you doing it on behalf of AH? That's the stupid part about it. Taft is able to pursue her manufactured vendetta against him without any sign of abating because of her substantial financial resources. Yeah, she's actually quite loaded. She's actually really rich, which is actually really insane. But again, no, that's a different story for another video where how she got that money. We'll leave that at that. It goes on, obviously, that say in contrast, Paul Barresi has suffered physically, emotionally, and financially because of her relentless, malevolent, and vicious attacks. Taft's complaint is filed with incoherent, irrelevant, and nonsensical allegations. Rumours hatched by a cast of unsavory characters, including several convicted felons, and bizarre conspiracy theories that have no connection to reality. It consists primarily of purported transcripts of conversations between non-parties, republications of false and defamatory statements made by non-parties about Barresi and others, allegations of harm experienced by third parties, and largely incorrect legal conclusions. Among the fatal legal defects evident from the face of the complaint are plaintiff's lack of any statutory basis or standing to bring criminal claims against Barresi in this civil action, her improper assertion of claims based on second or third-hand accounts of alleged harm to other people, her failure to allege facts that plausibly satisfy the elements of her purported claims, including damages, and her presentation of legal argument and citations as fact. She has refused to meet and confer substantively regarding the defects in her complaint, instead filing two incoherent and procedurally defective notions to further churn her fees, defame and disparage Barresi, and waste judicial resources. That's what we got so far, obviously going through it all, and now we're going into by the way, the motion defendant, going in, and we got the summary of relevant facts. But this is what we got. So, Taft describes herself as a humanitarian, philanthropist, and entrepreneur, and the founder and CEO of various corporate entities, Worldly, a British limited company founded in 2020, Rescue Social, a Hawaiian corporation founded in September 2023. These for-profit corporate entities do not offer any discernible products of service. Rather, they are used as shell companies by Taft to lend a very thin veneer of legitimacy to the false and defamatory lies she spreads about Barresi and others. The website of Rescue Social Inc. is a repository of posts authored by Taft herself. Like the complaint filed in this action, consist of nonsense ramblings from a mind untethered to reality or reason. With that part by there, obviously we have seen so many things that she has done where it's just nonsense that is coming out of her mouth, which a lot of people have seen and heard. And it's interesting to think that this person, it's like, what are you doing? Why would you say something like that? Because there's no merit and there's no grounds for anything. And when she was outside the court, this one I'll always remember, because for some unknown reason, again, I think the news crews knew that this person was a bit unhinged, because they were like, we just gotta cover and focus on one person, which was Taft. And she was holding the sign with photos of AH on and her. And it's just like them two hugging and all this kind of thing. It's like, what's that got to do with this? You know, it's got nothing to do with it. But with these websites and seeing that some of the things that they've put down, it's like, yeah. As the court document does state, there's a lot of stuff which is like, yeah, this doesn't mean anything, and it's just things put on there just to make the website look legit. And I say, for example, declaration of Melissa Y. Lerner, Rescue Social website examples, as reflected in the complaint, Taft became obsessed with AH, Depp, and their civil suit as early as 2019. Taft allegedly met AH at an event in Arizona that she attended with the goal of wanting to confirm humanity, all while on the birthday trip to see her uncle, Don Jabon in Sedona. The trial in Depp v. Heard was held in Fairfax County, which we've covered that extensively. 16-hour days we were streaming, guys. I was absolutely insane back then, but it was fun. April to June 2022. During that time, her fixation on AH as a purported victim continued to grow. She routinely attended the trial in Virginia, stood outside the courthouse with signs, and sometimes succeeded in her efforts to speak to reporters about her opinions regarding the case, which we just talked about. After Depp prevailed over AH in a jury trial, she became completely unhinged. Around this time, she became convinced that a criminal cabal run by Depp's attorney, defendant Adam Woolman, who's also in this lawsuit, and including Barresi, was responsible for AH's defeat through witness intimidation, obstruction of justice, and other alleged wrongdoings. Now with this, like we said, we saw Taft, she was handing out flyers and also putting flyers on the cars of the jurors, which again, people found out that she was actively watching to see who the jurors were in the courtroom, and then at the end she would try and get to them after they finished. That's witness tampering. It's absolutely crazy that she wasn't arrested, to be honest with you. Taft connected with unsavory characters who claimed to be fixtures of seedy Hollywood nightlife. These individuals included convicted felons and mentally ill. Fed lies, rumors, and conspiracy theories had met Barresi in the course of his work for AH's attorney in 2019. She became convinced, without a shred of evidence, that Barresi, who was hired by and working for AH's attorney, was actually a double agent and part of a criminal cabal and conspiracy with Waldman for Depp's benefit to defeat AH. It's just insane, isn't it? It's like, what the hell's going on? It really is. The complaint arises from the single delusional premise. Over the past 2 years, plaintiff has attempted to destroy his career by submitting frivolous complaints to Consumer Affairs, filed false reports with law enforcement agencies and the FBI, and helped out one of her confederate file a meritless restraining order application against Barresi in state court. which was summarily denied and dismissed. This lawsuit and the incomprehensible motion that have followed since the complaint was filed are her latest abuser process in furtherance of her harassment of Barresi. Yeah, this woman has done so many things. It's like, what is going on with her? Literally, what is going on inside her head? Because some of the stuff that we saw just in the trial and then subsequently afterwards on social media, it made a lot of people not take, they took a step back and they were just looking and going like, what's wrong with this person? You know, is she okay? She needs to get help. That's what the actual consensus was from many people. She needs to see someone and get herself some help. Now, what we're going to be moving into now, folks, is literally some things that when you actually hear them and see what we're going to be talking about, it's actually like we are watching an episode of The Shield or Sons of Anarchy or something, just because as you can see right by there, Rico and all this kind of stuff. That's where I know Rico from, is from Sons of Anarchy. But it's just absolutely crazy. It really is. The claims asserted in the instant action, federal criminal claims. So these are the ones that she is saying that Paul Barresi and Waldman and all this, that this is what they're guilty of. Plaintiff alleges in conclusory fashion that Barresi is civilly liable for violations of federal conspiracy law, obstruction of justice in violation, interstate communications containing a threat to kidnap or injure another in violation, interstate travel or transportation in aid of racketeering enterprises in violation of the Travel Act, and destruction, alteration, or falsification of records in violation of this one. These 6 claims for relief are referred to collectively herein as the Federal Criminal Claims, or FC claims. In connection with the federal criminal claims, plaintiff seeks compensation. She wants compensation for punitive damages. It's like, what are you doing? But now we're going into the RICO part, which, just because of what she's asking for, it's like, come on, what the hell is wrong with you? Plaintiff asserts a claim against Barresi pursuant to the Racketeering Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, RICO. Citing this one here, claim for relief. Plaintiff's claim for relief is primarily comprised of a recitation of the statutory language of the RICO Act coupled with the conclusory allegations. It is devoid of any well-placed facts. Now it's going into the California state law, which the remaining 6 claims for relief are rooted in California law, based again on conclusory allegations and legal arguments. Plaintiff claims that Barresi is liable for invasion of privacy under the California Constitution, infringement of a name and likeness in violation of this code, civil harassment in violation of this code, negligence in violation of civil rights, intentional infliction of emotional distress. Again, it's like, come on. All of these things, Christina, it's just not going to go right. It's just not going to go for you anyway. Then we got this now. Procedural background. On or about, defendant's recent retained counsel attempted to contact plaintiff, who was purportedly proceeding improper at the telephone number and email address contained in the caption of the complaint. Declaration of Melissa Y. Lerner. The telephone number is invalid. No response was received from the email address provided by plaintiff in the instant action. Eventually, after sending correspondence to other publicly available email addresses associated with the plaintiff responded to defendant's counsel, copying 2 alleged legal consultants, Lucy Hannah and Melody Sue Haynes, and ultimately agreement to an extension of the deadline for defendant to respond to the complaint. But this is what we got by this, what we got down. So Hannah is listed as the media contact for the plaintiff in an online posting about the instant action dated October 17th, 2024. Haynes was disbarred over 18 years ago, pursuant to a state bar code of California order date June 26, 2006. Oh my god, that's... When I think of 18 years ago, I'm still thinking back to the 90s and all this kind of stuff, but we're not. It's 2006, man. Anyway, I'm getting old. After embezzling $317,000, $584.41 of client funds from her firm's client trust account and spending it on lavish vacations, clothing, dinners out, and other personal expenses. So that's one person we got who is working for her, who is literally, she got done for fraud. She's been disbarred. Basically, she's a crook. So we got that one there. Then it goes on, obviously, October of this year, the parties filed a stipulation extending defendant's response deadline. Immediately thereafter, defendant's counsel again requested plaintiff's availability to schedule a pre-motion conference via telephone or Zoom, but received no response. See, when you see people who are doing this, I never understand why they put people and addresses and phone numbers and all this down when you know for a fact they don't exist. I really don't get that. I really don't, because especially when you're doing something which is going into a court, which is going to lawyers, it's like they're going to find out and know that these are not real. You know? It's, to me, that's just another person on the end of all of this who's doing it, like, haha, we're getting a fast one here, we're doing them in. It's actually making you look worse. And all these things that you are saying that this person is guilty of or you're accusing them of, it's like, I'm actually the bad guy here because I'm giving them false information. And they always go on about false information and, you know, fake news and all this kind of stuff, when you got people like Christina Taft and her firm putting all this kind of stuff out. You know, and you can see why Paul Barresi and everyone's like, yeah, dismiss this. Come on, we're going to put in a motion to dismiss because it's just outlandish. And to be honest with you, it actually seems very weird. But moving on, though, we are going to go back to it, and it's just absolutely insane. But it obviously goes on to say that they scheduled a pre-motion conference via telephone or Zoom, but again, received no response. On October 24th, 2024, plaintiffs served a document captioned Emergency Motion for Preliminary Injunction on defendant via email, and defendant received a PACER alert regarding the filing of the PI motion on October 25th, 2024. It goes on now, obviously, that on October 31st, 2024, Hannah contacted defendant's counsel regarding the PI motion, and plaintiffs plan to seek leave of court to file an amended complaint. In follow-up emails dated November 1st and 2nd, 2024, plaintiff purported to provide notice of a motion for leave to file an amended complaint with vague references to attaching witness statements and consolidating, streamlining causes of action to comply with unspecified rules. Learner going on with them ones. As of the date of this filing, plaintiff has failed and refused to engage in a substantive discussion regarding defendant's basis for this motion. Again, it's going back to the part where we're saying they're putting all this stuff out, but then it's like, I'm going to give you fake phone numbers. I'm going to give you fake email addresses. You won't be able to find this person. But then all of a sudden, all of this is coming out. And it's like, yeah, I'm not going to answer any Zoom calls or anything because I don't want to speak to you. It's like, well, if you're doing all of this, let's come to some sort of conclusion. Let's discuss this like adults. But with Christina Taft and the way that we've seen her act in front of the court, in court, outside, literally trying to get her face on camera every single time that she stepped out of that courthouse, it's like, come on. People are not going to look at you and be like, oh, you're a good person, and just not. They're going to look at you and go, you are one crazy girl. You are. Not crazy as in, oh my God, you're crazy. As in, you're crazy. You need to seek help. That's the sort of one there. Moving into the legal standard now. A complaint must be dismissed if it fails to state a claim on which relief may be granted. Dismissal under this rule is proper when the complaint either lacks a cognizable legal theory, or 2, fails to allege sufficient facts to support this legal theory. To survive a motion to dismiss, a complaint must contain sufficient factual matter accepted as true to state a claim to relief that is plausible on its face. Threadbare recitals of the elements of a cause of action, supported by mere conclusory statements, do not suffice. A court is not bound to accept as true legal conclusions couched as factual allegations, which is what we've seen Taft do a lot of other times, you know? We've seen things where some people have gone in and they've put things down like, right, I'm going to do this. And they just state allegations, not facts. And when some people, like this one by here, when they're putting it down and saying, oh, well, this is true. How is it true? Well, I heard it from so-and-so. Well, that's an allegation. It's not a matter of fact. But when we look at things as well, though, folks, I will be leaving the video by here, ending this one. So this will be a part 1. Obviously, we do have, as you can see, 10 more pages. More than likely about 8 or 9 pages in total. We will be going through that again. So that video will probably be going out tomorrow, if not the following day. So like and subscribe, folks. Make sure you are here and you've got notifications turned on when part 2 drops. So take care, folks, and I'll see you soon.